James Harlan was an attorney and politician, a member of the United States Senate, and a U.S. Cabinet Secretary at the United States Department of Interior under President Andrew Johnson. Biography. Early life. Harlan was the son of Silas and Mary Harlan, born on August 26, 1820 in Clark County, Illinois and raised in Indiana. Harlan attended local schools as a boy. He graduated from Indiana Asbury University in 1845. He moved to Iowa City, Iowa, where he served as superintendent of schools. He also studied law and was admitted to the bar in 1850. He joined the Whig Party and became active in politics. In 1850, Harlan declined the Whig nomination for governor of Iowa. From 1853 to 1855, Harlan was president of Iowa Wesleyan College in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. First Senate stint. In 1855, Harlan was elected by the Iowa legislature to the United States Senate as a Free Soil Party candidate. In 1857, the U.S. Senate declared the seat vacant because of irregularities in the legislative election. He was re-elected by the legislature and seated as a Republican, serving until 1865. In 1861, Harlan was a delegate to the peace conference that tried to arrange a compromise to prevent the American Civil War. Secretary of the Interior. In 1865, he resigned from the Senate when he was appointed as Secretary of the Interior under President Andrew Johnson, an appointment he held until 1866. As secretary, he announced that he intended to clean house and fired a considerable number of incumbents who were seldom at the respective desks. He had done so after requesting, in late May 1865, a report listing all employees who uttered disloyal statements since the bombardment of Fort Sumter, all those not known to entertain loyal sentiments or who had associated with those known to be disloyal, those who were inefficient and not necessarily to transact public business, all such persons as disregarded in their conduct, habits, and associations the rules of decorum, propriety prescribed by a Christian civilization. Among this group was the poet Walt Whitman, then working as a clerk in the department, who received his dismissal note on June 30, 1865. Harlan had found a copy of Leaves of Grass on Whitman's desk as the poet was making revisions and found it to be morally offensive. "I will not have the author of the book in this department," he said. "If the President of the United States should order his reinstatement, I would resign sooner than I would put him back." 29 years later, Harlan defended his firing of Whitman, saying that the clerk was dismissed solely on the grounds that his services were not needed. Harlan was a member of the Southern Treaty Commission that renegotiated treaties with Indian tribes that had sided with the Confederacy, such as the Cherokee and Choctaw. As part of the new treaties, they had to emancipate the slaves, as was being done by amendment within the United States, and offer them full citizenship in the tribes if they chose to stay in Indian Territory. If they left, the freedmen would become United States citizens. Harlan resigned from the post in 1866 when he no longer supported the policies of President Johnson. Second Senate stint. He was elected again by the Iowa legislature to the United States Senate in 1867, and served until the end of his term in January 1873. During his Senate service, Harlan was chairman of the Committees of Public Lands, District of Columbia, Education, and Indian Affairs. Harlan was an unsuccessful candidate for re-election in 1872, and was also an unsuccessful candidate for governor in 1895. From 1882 to 1886, Harlan was appointed as presiding judge for the Court of Commissioners, which heard cases cases related to the Alabama claims. Death and legacy. James Harlan died in Mount Pleasant on October 5, 1899. A commemorative sculpture was done of him. Iowa installed it in the United States Capitol along with one of pioneer Governor Samuel Kirkwood. The Harlan statue was located in the Hall of Columns until it was replaced in 2014 by a statue of Norman Borlaug. It is now on display at Iowa Wesleyan College. Harlan was a close friend of President Abraham Lincoln and his family. In 1868, his daughter, Mary Eunice Harlan, married Lincoln's son Robert Todd Lincoln. The couple lived during the summers at Harlan's home in Mount Pleasant. The residence has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is now known as the Harlan Lincoln House. Operated as a house museum, it exhibits memorabilia from both the Harlan and Lincoln families.